Hey, what's up, guys? It's Bill of the Universe, and I am here today to talk to you about the one, the only, Selena y los Dinos. Como la flor, tanto amor. Anyway, yeah, Selena. So I actually am gonna tell you, spend 1 minute or two talking to you about Selena before I actually talk to you about her chart, because she's a Mexican from Corpus Christi, Texas, and my mom's Mexican from Corpus Christi, Texas, and my whole family was born and raised in Corpus Christi. I'm from Houston, but my whole family's from there, and so growing up in the '90s, we always were traveling back and forth from to and from Corpus Christi, just because we have so much family there, and we're always there, and we have so much like connection to Corpus Christi. Um, in '94 or '95, she came to Houston for that famous Astrodome concert, and actually, my brother, who was like 15 at the time, went to that concert. So my brother had this amazing experience of watching her perform at the Astrodome, and I was like 8 years old, and I remember we shared a room, and I had like Power Rangers posters, but my brother had like a Cindy Crawford poster and Selena, a Selena poster. So I mean, she was like really kind of big in our household, and as a Latino myself, right? So what's interesting is I kind of want to say something about something. So I do heavy meditations a lot, and I one day years ago, without looking at her chart, was meditating on Selena actually one time, and I was going into deep meditation, and I had this vision of like a princess or like a princess or a queen that comes from another dimension, another realm, coming down to to be with the people, the common people, because they were suffering, and the royals were telling her to not to do that because she might be swallowed up there and she might actually be killed. But she ignored them and went down anyway because she wanted to help. And it's that's just what I like. That was my vision years ago when I meditated on Selena. But anyway, I'm looking at her chart, and it's funny because it kind of reminds me of that vision. So let's get started. So Selena was born in Jacksonville, Texas. Lake Jackson, Texas, in at 2:29 in the morning, April 16th, 1971. So this makes her an Aries Sun, a Sag Moon, and a Cap Ascendant. Okay, so there's like huge indicators for fame here. North Node in the first house is a big indicator for fame, and so is North Node in the 10th house. So Justin Bieber, I did his chart recently, has his North Node in the first house. So does Selena. Um, she has that also. That is a big fame indicator. Another big fame indicator, just like Timothy Chalamet's chart, just like Nancy Pelosi's chart, just like someone else's chart. Um, they she also has Moon in the 12th house. So that makes her two things for sure. One, it can bring popularity because these people love to travel. They have a lot of desire. They have a lot of very heavy desires, like fame, pleasure, travel. So that's why these people can be famous because they have such a high desire threshold. Um, but this also makes these women very, very, very beautiful. And she's got quite a few beauty indicators as well. Her moon being in the 12th house is a very, 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 um, what's it called? Uh, High beauty indicator. The other one is her Venus is in the second house. So Venus already feels comfortable in the second house because second house is Taurus. So Venus already loves being in this house, and the fact that she's a woman makes her very, very sensual looking, very beautiful looking, and it's sitting in Aquarius. So Aquarius is not going to be conventional looking. Not conventional at all. And she wasn't conventional for that time because at that time you had Cindy Crawford, you had Naomi Campbell, you had Claudia Schiffer, and everyone was really thin, very high fashion, very long legs. But Selena was very thick and very curvy and very vivacious, and she had big lips, and she was a dark Mexican woman. You know what I mean? So she was very beautiful, having Venus in the second house. But because the second house was being ruled by Aquarius, she had a very different beauty. Her beauty was not conventional at all, and that's what Aquarius is. It's unconventional. The other beauty indicator is that she has her sun, well, had her sun in the fourth house. Also Mercury in the fourth house. Fourth house. Sun in fourth house. Cancer is a natural fourth house ruler, and Cancer. When women are a Cancer, especially in the sun, moon, or rising, this makes them very, very, very beautiful. So she's got her sun in the fourth house of Cancer. So this makes her again very beautiful. Um, the other thing is her ascendant is in Capricorn, but it's the star of Shravana. And it's so funny because remember I told you how I was meditating um, on her, and what I got was a vision of like a queen or some type of otherworldly someone coming down to earth to sort of like bless the earth with their presence and help out, like help the community. And Shravana, which is a star in Capricorn, according to the astrologer Claire Nagdi, this is like the chosen one kind of star. And in a lot of societies and ancient philosophies, this star is the star of like the higher being, the celestial one, the chosen one. A lot of these people die early because they're almost like too good for this world. It's because they're not from this world. And remember, I told you when I was meditating, I had that like vision of her coming down to see the people, which we're earthlings, we're like the people, right? The poor people who are suffering. And I had a vision of this like queen ascending from her like mountain, her palace, to help the people. And all of her consorts are like, please don't do this because they're going to kill you. You're not going to survive down there. That's a horrible place. It's not the place you want to be. It's full of suffering. And she's saying, I don't care because these are my people and they're suffering, so I want to suffer with them. And here, that's the meditation vision I had years ago before, and not even looking at her chart. And now I'm looking, and she's got Shravana ascendant. That's like the chosen one, being coming down to earth. You know what I mean? So that's highly, highly fascinating to me. Now, the other thing I do see is uh, violence. I do see violence because she's got Rahu or North Node in the first house. That's very Aries. That's very violent. Okay. The other thing is she's got Mars in the 12th house. Mars in the 12th house. Anytime you have take a woman's chart and you got Mars in the 12th house, they have been dealing with violent men for a long time. They have a lot of history dealing with violent men. Violence is always kind of just around them. And the other thing that kind of made me wonder if there was violence in the house was, um, what was it? Okay, so the sun is in Aries, right? But the sun is in the star of Ashwini. So Ashwini is a very like honestly, it's a very confident star, and because it's Aries, these people are usually the oldest of their siblings. I don't know. I think Selena is actually the youngest of her siblings. But when if these people are not the oldest, they're definitely the most successful. So it's funny how she's an Aries sun, even though she's not the youngest, she's definitely the most successful. But the reason I see violence in her chart is because her sun is in Aries, but the star is Ashwini. So that means that like father, which is sun, the sun it indicates father, is spiritual, but he can be a bit selfish and a bit like I feel like pollutant to like family. kind of like a Joe Jackson vibe. Maybe definitely not as like severe, but kind of on that path. And then the other huge indicator for violence, honestly, is Mars in the 12th house. Like Mars in the 12th house people, they will date ex convicts. They get hit by their boyfriends. They experience violence. They experience violence in their lifetimes. Um, so, and the other thing I see is kind of a weird, strained relationship with the mother, and that's weird because in the movie they're so close, and I feel like they might have been really close. But this chart says, this chart indicates uh, distance with the mom. One, because Moon is mother, and it's sitting in the 12th house of losses and distance and other worlds. So her moon is sitting in the 12th. That means mother. There's like some type of distance with the mother. Also, Saturn creates distance. Saturn creates delays, and it's sitting in Selena's fourth house. Fourth house is the mother. So this is two indicators of distance between her and mother. Um, but she's got Jupiter in the 11th house. Okay, so if you don't know, in a woman's chart, a heterosexual woman's chart, right? Jupiter always talks about husband. So, um, her Jupiter is in the 11th house. Jupiter is also like luck and where things are very easy in your life and where things are you're very blessed in life. So it's suggesting that she has a very close connection with the groups around her, with groups in general. This can make her an incredibly popular person and a very, very powerful person amongst her groups because the 11th house is in Scorpio. So this is a lot of power, this is a lot of money and fame. But then Jupiter is blessing her with like popularity with her groups. And because it's Scorpio, it's gonna make her like always the richest woman in her group. You know what I mean? But because it's because Jupiter's husband, this also means that she could have met her husband in some type of group, which I do know that she met her husband because her husband was the guitar player in her music group. So I think that's really cool. And speaking of husbands, her Jupiter is in Scorpio within the star of Anuradha. So Scorpio is very sexy, very dark looks, very mysterious. Kind of has a lot of sexual energy and kind of wears it on their sleeve. And her husband um, was known for being like a rocker who was mysterious, who was very, very handsome and cute, but like quiet and stuff like that, had long hair. And Anuradha, which is the star in Scorpio, is like a hippie star. So I know that he had long hair. He was a rocker. He was actually in a rock band before he joined her band. So I think that's pretty cool. And you'll see a lot of rock stars actually with long black hair. Um, Again, the star is called Anuradha, and it's a star within Scorpio. I am a Scorpio. I'm an Anuradha ascendant, and I'm a musician, and I'm a hippie, and I have long black hair. You see what I mean? So that kind of describes her husband. But also, Anuradha is very faithful, very, very faithful, and um, very musical, very artistic. It is in the third pada. Third pada is ruled by Venus, so her husband is uh, very artistic, very musical. That does show this for sure. Um, but it also he's also a very good friend, not just like um, a lover, but he's also a friend. What else? Her moon is in Sagittarius. This makes her very, very, very intelligent. Um, who who else did I do? What's her name? What's her name? Taylor Swift. I did her moon. I did her chart recently. She also has Sagittarius moon. So women with Sagittarius moon tend to be very, very intelligent, and specifically the star of Mula. Mula is a very, very beautiful woman, but it's also a very like stubborn woman, and it's a very like non. It's a very rule breaker type of person. So this person could have been very much a party girl. She could have been very outgoing, very popular, and she didn't follow rules. She kind of was a weird person, but in a great, awesome way. She would probably appreciated people of all kinds. from all walks of life. She really appreciated everyone. Um, uh, heavy, heavy on the beauty threshold. Venus in the second house, Moon in the 12th house, and with a Moolah moon, Sagittarius moon, and Sun in the fourth house. This is a very beautiful woman, very beautiful woman, and it's a huge fame indicator. A huge fame indicator. It could have also meant that what she really, really wanted in life, what was, yes, to be like famous and to have our identity known, but she also really wanted to be seen as someone who was a helper and someone who was like a fighter and a warrior for people. I think that was really important because it's in Capricorn, which is the top, which is the best, which is the greatest, but it's in the star of Danishta, and Danishta is a very controlled star. It's a very giving star. It's a very violent star. Again, this is controlled violence, but it's still violence. So she could have been in the military. That's how much fight she has. But but yeah, I would say that more than being, yes, she wanted to be popular, as this chart does indicate. There is a huge indicators for a desire for fame. But the thing is, this North Node in the first house is in the star of Danishta. So that's a someone who fights. That's the warrior, someone who fights for the good of man, for mankind. So it's it's kind of sad that she did achieve her Rahu, but she paid a price and she died. Yeah, Rahu is the North Node, if you're wondering. So anyway, yeah, I'm sure there's some yogas that are here that any advanced astrologer could look at and instantly see early death, but I can't really. But I can tell you a lot of the basics. All right, guys, so that was Selena. That was a little bit longer of a video, but that's okay because she's worth it. Ay, como me duele.